So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever it is for you. So we are going to participate once more in this very important, although on one level very simple ceremony of receiving the Bodhisattva vow. It's very important that we try to receive this vow again and again. It's not one thing that you just do one time and then that's it. It's something which, as much as possible, especially if one hears of great masters, I mean, not people, ordinary people like me, but really people who are special, who are giving this vow, it's very, very auspicious if we try to take it. It's like planting seeds and watering them again and again, so that through all our future lifetimes, we will meet up once more with the Buddha Dharma and especially the Mahayana Dharma, so we don't waste time. So that's why I agreed to give this, do this, even though I'm nothing. But the Bodhisattva vow itself has tremendous power. And so therefore, we should be rejoicing in the opportunity to receive the vow today. So I'll just go through a little bit about what it's about. But it would be nice if I had a clock.
I'll put my phone as a clock.
Otherwise it could go on and on and on. And, yeah.
Do the opening. Do you want to do the opening motivation? The opening motivation. Do you want to do that?
Oh, okay. What is the opening motivation?
With boundless compassion and wisdom.
Bring them again and again, so that through all our future lifetimes, we will meet up once more.
That's you too. I'll put it on the screen just a moment. Oops, sorry.
You're not completely with it yet. Okay. So we start with our usual motivation. With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace. So that's a very great aspiration. So we all know that the Buddha attained enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, and then after some time he walked to Sarnath, which is just outside of Varanasi, to find his erstwhile companions, and in that way set in motion the wheel of the Dharma. So what did he teach? He had just become, after endless eons of effort, he had finally broken through to ultimate truth. What did he teach? He taught about the nature of this round of birth and death, of samsara, and dukkha, the unsatisfactory, difficult nature of living in this dualistic mindset which we all have to experience. Dukkha, that life is unsatisfactory, that it's insecure, it's impermanent, and we never know what's going to happen in even the next moment. And so we relate to that. Basically, in 3 different ways, which are called the 3 scopes. And the first is that we are in a kind of denial, and we try to make samsara comfortable so that it's not so bad. And we try to make it secure, even though it's very insecure. And we try to get through our life with the least possible amount of stress and discomfort. So people make merit meaning positive karma. They are generous, they are kind, they're good. This is on a spiritual level. And they make the kind of actions which they hope will eventually bring them in next lifetime to a good rebirth in the heavenly realms or on earth, but in a very comfortable situation. So that's the first reaction. Let's try to make things okay for ourselves. It is not so much dukkha. The second way, which is especially emphasized in the Shravakayana approach, is even though we try to make samsara comfortable, it is very uncertain. We are going to get old, we are going to get sick, and eventually we are going to die. And likewise, those that we love, no matter how much we care for them, eventually we will part. Eventually they will die, we will die. It's all very uncertain. The only way to be sure is to get out altogether. So then the second scope is the desire to completely break the wheel of samsara and become an arahat through an arahat and enter into nirvana. And so even up to today, that is a very valid path, and people do, with a lot of effort usually, finally break through the knot of our ego. And in that release, they realize nirvana, and then they can bid farewell to samsara. The problem there is that we have liberated ourselves, which is very nice for us. But what about everyone else? In what way are they benefited? They are still sunk in the swamp of samsara, and our leaving has not really benefited them at all. In fact, it's ultimately really quite selfish, even though the attainment of being an arahat is when we drop the idea of a self. So in Buddhist terms, what happened was that then more and more people began to recognize that just liberating ourselves from the prison of samsara was not enough. That if, for example, we were all in a huge big swamp, all drowning in this horrible putrid swamp, and then somehow because of our efforts we got onto dry land, could we turn around and say to our parents, our family, our children, our loved ones, well, look, I'm so sorry you're drowning in the swamp of samsara here, but I'm free. which shows you can do it if you try very, very hard. So, just make lots of effort, and you too can get onto dry land. So in the meantime, good luck, everybody out there. And then you turn your back and walk away. We couldn't do that. We would have, if we really loved our children and our family and our parents and ultimately all beings, of course, we would have to say, now I am on firm, dry land. I am going to use that to help pull you out. Otherwise, what's the point of being on dry land just for myself, all by myself? So that's the third scope. And that aspiration to attain to the dry, firm land in order to help pull everyone else also out of the swamp is called bodhicitta. And bodhi means like enlightenment or awakening, and citta means like mind or heart. So it's that recognition that we're all interconnected with all beings, and that the only real reason to go beyond samsara is in order to help others likewise to go beyond samsara, because we're all interconnected. So, not only are we aspiring to help those that we love, our family and our children, our parents, and so forth, but we recognize that ultimately, because we really are all interconnected at a very deep level, we're not just trying to liberate our country people, right? Tibetans, yes, we'll liberate the Tibetans, but forget about the Chinese. It's not like that. It's all beings, and not just human beings. Animals, insects, birds, fish, all the beings who have consciousness, all of them, we are going to vow to liberate however long it takes. This is not a fast track. This is going to take time. But we are pledged to liberate all sentient beings throughout time and space. So this vow is literally beyond thought. It's so vast when we think of what we are committing ourselves to, how far and how the whole cosmos, it literally blows your mind. And so we start step by step, recognizing that in this lifetime we can only do this much. But lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, that seed which we have sown in our consciousness will start to grow, put down roots, and gradually, lifetime after lifetime, eventually it will manifest as a huge Bodhi tree. And all beings can shelter under that tree. So, I mean, there are many ways of dealing with this, and we need to get through the... but the other main point is that there are two kinds of bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta and relative bodhicitta. And so taking the vow and aspiration is relative bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta is the nature of the mind. In actual fact, right now, we have everything. We have Buddha nature. which is the same as Dhammakaya, which is the same as ultimate bodhicitta. It's already there within us. It's our true nature. The problem is we don't recognize. And because we don't recognize, we have to go through this whole process until we wake up. Now we are just dreaming it, but that is also part of the process that we need to go through. Gradually, 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 it becomes more clear, more apparent, more obvious, until finally it culminates in ultimate liberation for all beings everywhere. Who knows when? Even maybe AIs will get it. Actually, probably an AI could do this talk a whole lot better. They're very clever. I mean, they're not sentient, but they could help. So, anyway, in the meantime, having received the vow to be of benefit to all beings throughout time and space, we have to recognize that then we are like ambassadors to, like, the United Nations. When a country sends representatives to, say, the United Nations, the whole nation doesn't go. They select someone who will be their spokesperson and will speak on their behalf. And so that's what we become. We become ambassadors for sentient beings. Everything that we do, and especially as far as our practice is concerned, is done on behalf of all the beings in the world who don't know how to do this. So, for example, in Tantra, we transform all beings into the deity, not just ourselves. It's not just that, you know, I am Tara and you're just sentient beings. All sentient beings are Tara. But because they don't know that, we have to visualize this on their behalf. So we are working on behalf of all sentient beings constantly, right? And for example, when we're doing any practice, we visualize that all these other beings are practicing along with us. We're doing it on their behalf. It's not just for my benefit that I do this practice every day, but on behalf of all the beings who don't know how to do the practice. We are doing it for them. So everybody is included. There's nobody excluded. There is no idea, obviously, of, you know, good guys, bad guys, those that we like and those who we don't like. All beings have Buddha nature, and all beings are eventually going to wake up to their true nature, and in the meantime, we are practicing on their behalf. So, when we take the vow, we become incipient bodhisattvas. We're not full-grown 8th-level bodhisattvas. We're just very, very little aspiring bodhisattvas, right? As I say, it's like, you know, we plant the seed in our mind stream, and then we have to water it, we have to nourish it, we have to watch it slowly, slowly, slowly growing. So we nourish it with the compost of the paramita, and our level of realization, our level of aspiration, and so forth. All of this nourishes that seed. So the seed seed begins to ripen, put down roots, grow up slowly, 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 and we keep taking care of it. We also have to, of course, pull out the weeds, because our little, delicate little seed of pure aspiration can get overcome by our negative emotions or our egotism and greed and aggression, all sorts of things, can cover it up so it can't flourish. So like any plant, if you want it to flourish, you put it in good soil, then you see that it's well watered, taken care of, and weeded from time to time so that it has space in which to grow. So that's what we're doing now. We're just planting a seed and putting some water on it, right? Yeah, so it's the point is that this seed which we have planted, and maybe planted also from past lives, because all of us in this lifetime have met with the Dharma, and in a way we take it for granted. Oh yeah, the Dharma, there's so many books, there's so many teachers nowadays, you know, on YouTube, so many, you know, teachings going on there, and we could take it for granted. But if you think of the billions and billions of people on this planet, how many people have actually heard of the Dharma? And not just that, but how many, even of those who have heard of the Dharma, may be born in a Buddhist country, and so forth, how many have genuine faith and interest in the Dharma? I mean, even among the Tibetans, who everybody agrees are really probably the most devout country in the world, nowadays, for them, these young people, the Western Pure Land is New York or Sydney. Where do you want to go? Well, they're not going to say Dewa Chen. They're going to say, oh, Los Angeles. You know? So, although they have some faith, they don't really have that deep underlying motivation which pushes them to give everything in order to study and practice. So when you think of how many people are really genuinely studying and practicing and reaching out to benefit others, really very, very small. And even if in past life you took the Bodhisattva vow, unless we keep watering it, unless we keep taking care of it and you know, pulling out the weeds, it can get stifled and it can wither and die like a plant. You have a very good plant seed, you plant it, but unless we take care, it will have a hard time growing. So it's very important to therefore recognize that having taken this vow, if we are doing this seriously, we have to take care of it night and day. Through being kind, through being studying, through practicing, through everything we can do, we should really make efforts in that. But the good news is that this compassion and this caring is like a lotus. Lotuses grow in the mud. They don't grow in the just pure soil. In the thick, dirty mud, there the lotus grows, and it comes up, and it opens up, and it's completely pure and stainless. There's no mud on it. And so that's like us. I mean, despite all our you know, we look at our mind and think, oh my goodness me, where's that going us? But in that very mess which is in our heart, from that comes the purity of our aspiration and then our actions to fulfill that aspiration. And that's what will continue from lifetime after lifetime. So we're praying very hard always through the Mahayana doctrine, right? And follow the path. And so we need to make many aspirations, and every day we should recite the refuges and the Bodhisattva Vow, just to keep us reminding us, right? And so then in the meantime we try to be helpful, not to harm, practice the paramita, live to benefit others, and really gradually, slowly but surely travel along the path to ultimate benefit. But this is very, very extraordinary vow. Nobody, I mean, most people, even though they're very, very good, the most they are hoping is then they will be rewarded by going to heaven. But we are not wanting to be rewarded by going to heaven. We are praying to keep coming back into samsara in order to be of benefit to all the beings in samsara, however long it takes, right? So in the prayer, it says, today in the presence of all the protectors, I summon all beings as guests to the state of Buddhahood, and in the meantime, to some worldly happiness. So we want people to be happy in the meantime, but the ultimate aim is to take all beings with us into the state of ultimate Buddhahood, however many eons it may take. But everything's fast. We don't know now. Might somehow find some way of, quick deliverance. We don't know. But in the meantime, whether it takes eons and eons or just 1 or 2 lifetimes, our goal is set. It's like what is called that thing, GPS. When we every morning we set our GPS. Enlightenment for all beings. And then, like in a car, you set your GPS to go down to Kerala. But Kerala is an awfully long way. And if you just spend all your time thinking Kerala, 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 and you're not looking at what's happening around you, then you're likely to crash. So even though you know you're going to go to Kerala because you're following your GPS, in the meantime, we look out the window and we appreciate where we are on the road. And however long it takes to get down there, you'll get down there because the GPS is set for that. But in the meantime, you can appreciate the passing scenery and the people and the food and everything on the journey. So to appreciate the journey and to be happy with the journey, but know that ultimately this journey, it will lead to the goal of total. We have to wake up. If we don't wake up, we're going to destroy the planet. So it's no real option. I mean, unless we awaken, we have so much power now that unless we do something positive with that, we're going to be in a big mess very quickly. So there are 2 ways of taking the Bodhisattva vow. One takes several hours, and another one is very quick, and we're doing a quick one, of course. And this is taken from Shanti Deva. Shanti Deva, of course, was in his Bodhicharyavatara was the great illuminator of what it means to have bodhicitta and all that we need to do in order to be true to our pledge for benefiting beings and purifying our kleshas, all our negative emotions. Anybody who has not here read the Bodhisattva should definitely do so, because it's the really very, very important text on a bodhisattva's way of life. And I'm sure it must be incredibly beautiful in Sanskrit. It's very lovely also in Tibetan, but in whatever language it is been translated into, the meaning is very clear and very inspiring for helping people to bring compassion into daily life. That's the point. It's not just a matter of sitting on our seats and thinking good thoughts. It's how to transform our daily life into the Dharma practice so that we become the Dharma. And in that way also, intentionally or unintentionally, like a stone thrown in a lake, the ripples go out, and many people are benefited even without our intention. So this is the difference in Buddhism between the Shravakayana school and the Mahayana school. I mean, there are lots of little minor differences, but the real difference is motivation. Why are we practicing? What is this for? Is it just so that I will feel better? Or for something so vast and profound and really, really beyond thought, that we are pledging ourselves, not just in this lifetime, but all our future lifetimes, to accomplish for the sake of the world. So this really actually is an extraordinary vow. There's nothing compared to it. I mean, like many people they pray for their family, they pray for their country, they pray for their fellow religionists, but they don't pray not only for all human beings into the future, but, as I said, all beings, all sentient beings. And that means all beings, even little, tiny little microcells. They also have consciousness. And we're going to take them to recognize their own innate Buddha nature. That's extraordinary. It goes beyond mind, how we have to take all beings with us and not leave even this little thing behind. All beings. Okay, so it would be good if you wouldn't mind what we're going to do. Okay, here's the plan of action here. First, you do 3 prostrations to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Then kneel if you can. If you don't have knees that want to kneel, it's okay. The Buddhas are not discriminating. But if you can manage to kneel, that's very best, right? Then we will say 2 verses all together, which we repeat 3 times, all of us together. Then I will say a line and you will repeat it, right? That is the actual Bodhisattva vow, and we will do that. And then when that is done, then we will again all together recite the next verses, like having attained a fortunate human existence. Does everybody have the text? Right, okay. So the first two verses we all recite together. Then the middle verse, the just as the Buddhas of the past, you recite after me, because that's when I'm giving the vow. Then again we recite the next thing all together, and then there'll be the dedication. Okay, so that should give us a good time. So if you wouldn't mind now, those of you who can, please do 3 prostrations. If the Buddha Dharma Sangha is not in front of you, just imagine it there, right? And then kneel if you can, but if you can't, there's absolutely no problem. Okay, now we all look at the text. You have the text? If you don't, you can just follow. All of those who have the text, which starts to all the Buddhas dwelling in the 3 times and 10 directions, all right? Are you there? Okay, so we all say that together right now, all right? To all the Buddhas dwelling in the 3 times and 10 directions, to the great Bodhisattvas on the 10 levels, to the great teachers, the Vajra holders, pray listen to me. Until I attain the essence of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas, in the holy Dharma, and in the assembly of noble Bodhisattvas. And again, to all the Buddhas dwelling in the 3 times and 10 directions, to the great Bodhisattvas on the 10 levels, to the great teachers, the Vajra holders, pray listen to me. Until I attain the essence of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas, in the holy Dharma, and in the assembly of noble Bodhisattvas. To all the Buddhas dwelling in the 3 times and 10 directions, to the great Bodhisattvas on the 10 levels, to the great teachers, the Vajra holders, pray listen to me. Until I attain the essence of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas, in the holy Dharma, and in the assembly of noble Bodhisattvas. Now recite after me. Just as the Buddhas of the past aroused the bodhicitta aspiration and gradually progressed through the stages of a bodhisattva's training, likewise I shall arouse the bodhicitta aspiration
Likewise, I shall arouse the bodhicitta aspiration
for the benefit of all beings,
for the benefit of all beings,
and I shall undertake step by step
and I shall undertake step by step
that training of a bodhisattva.
that training of a bodhisattva.
And again, just as the Buddhas of the past
Just as the Buddhas of the past
aroused the bodhicitta aspiration
aroused the bodhicitta aspiration
and gradually progressed through
and gradually progressed through
the stages of a bodhisattva's training,
the stages of a bodhisattva's training,
likewise, I shall arouse the bodhicitta aspiration
likewise I shall arouse the bodhicitta aspiration
for the benefit of all beings,
for the benefit of all beings,
and I shall undertake step by step
and I shall undertake step by step
that training of a bodhisattva.
that training of a bodhisattva.
Just as the Buddhas of the past
Just as the Buddhas of the past
aroused the bodhicitta aspiration
aroused the bodhicitta aspiration
and gradually progressed through
and gradually progressed through
the stages of a bodhisattva's training,
the stages of a bodhisattva's training,
likewise, I shall arouse the bodhicitta aspiration
likewise I shall arouse the bodhicitta aspiration
for the benefit of all beings,
for the benefit of all beings,
and I shall undertake step by step
and I shall undertake step by step
that training of a bodhisattva.
that training of a bodhisattva.
So then we all say together, having attained a fortunate human existence, now my life has borne fruit. Today I am born into the family of the Buddhas. Now I have become a child of the Buddhas. Now at all costs I must act in accord with that family. I must not do anything that will defile this noble and faultless race. Today, in the presence of the protectors, I summon all beings as guests to the state of Buddhahood, and in the meanwhile, to worldly happiness. May celestial beings, asuras, and all others be joyful. May beings never separate from the enlightened mind and always engage in the activities of a bodhisattva. May they be cared for by the Buddhas and give up the actions of Mara. May the bodhisattvas accomplish all they have intended for the sake of beings, whatever the protectors have intended for them. May sentient beings receive it. May all sentient beings be happy. May all the lower realms be emptied forever. And may the bodhisattvas on the 10 levels have all their wishes fulfilled. May the precious bodhicitta take birth in those in whom it has not taken birth, and where it has taken birth, may it not decline, but grow forever more and more. So while we are here, we can also, do you have this Bodhisattva vow which says, however innumerable beings are?
No.
Yes? No?
No.
Maybe? Doesn't matter. I read it. It's an excerpt from the sadhana of Jetsunma, Tara. However innumerable beings are, I vow to meet them with kindness and interest. However inexhaustible the states of suffering are, I vow to touch them with patience and love. However immeasurable the dharmas are, I vow to explore them deeply. However incomparable the mystery of interbeing, I vow to surrender to it freely. From this day forth, with wisdom and compassion as my lamp and staff, I dedicate all my life's energies to the welfare of all beings. And I will finish with the, if I have it, the dedication verses from, again, the Bodhicharyavatara. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of these merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hunger find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, so as long as sentient beings remain, until then, may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Quite famously, that last verse, for as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then, may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. It's very well known that this is one of the first things which His Holiness the Dalai Lama says each morning on awakening, to remind us, for as long as space remains and sentient beings remain, I too will remain to remove the suffering of the world. This is a huge vow, a huge vow. And we must use our lives as much as we can to cultivate the paramita and transform even everyday activities and relationships into something very deep and meaningful on the Bodhisattva path. So the moment we little bodhisattvas. But if we keep trying, we keep putting on the mulch and watering and giving sunshine of our attention, slowly, 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 it will deepen and deepen and deepen into our mind conscience, so that next lifetime we will very quickly meet with the path, the Mahayana path, and with very qualified teachers to help us to walk that path. So this is a very important that we always believe and understand that we can do this. We can do this because we have Buddha nature. It might be covered up at the moment, but it's there. It never, like the sky. The sky, however thick our clouds are through this monsoon, nonetheless, we know behind those thick, dark clouds is a clear, clear blue sky, which is always there, waiting for us to recognize it. So this is like that. Our Buddha nature is always there. Nothing we could do would make it in any way less perfect. But we have to recognize it and stabilize it. And that's our duty for this lifetime, to cultivate our awareness and to cultivate our kindness, our innate goodness, and to, in that way, take our daily life as the Dharma and not separate them, thinking if I'm studying, then that's Dharma. When I go out for a walk, that's not Dharma. Everything is Dharma, if we do it with awareness and with a good heart. I just came across this today. Somebody sent me. It was something said by somebody called Howard Zinn, who was a college professor, American. He says, to be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of the world in a different direction. And if we do act in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is in itself a marvelous victory. So I think at this time that's a very beautiful thing, because it's very easy to become quite negative when you look around with the media and what is presented to us as news. Then it looks like everything is totally going to the dogs. But in fact, there are so many beautiful things happening at this time, and so many beautiful people doing it, that we definitely should put our energy towards the positive and not dwell always on what is difficult in this world. This is samsara. But it is in samsara that we become bodhisattvas. And so samsara can also help us to actually realize our genuine motivation to be of benefit to all the world. So we did pretty well. Look, it's just 3 o'clock. How's that for timing? Lovely to see you all on the screen. And I'm also looking out at, it's a little bit intimidating because also our monk Kempos, our professors, are also here, which is very intimidating actually. If they were kinder, they wouldn't have bothered. We have a number of people who have come from elsewhere here. Isn't it wonderful that even in this day and age, so many people from so many countries are arousing the pure aspiration to live all their lives in order to benefit the world. In this day and age, that is really wonderful. And although we, of course, all feel, the deep pain of the situation around the world and also still in Tibet and elsewhere, nonetheless, Tibet's loss was the world's gain, because now the Dharma has spread throughout the world in the most unlikely places. People are practicing from their heart and transforming their lives of themselves and the lives of others through their meeting and practice of the Dharma. So even though in Buddhist countries there may be some problems at this time, it nonetheless helps in it's interesting how these things work out karmically, that the loss on one side is the gain on another. So I'm very happy to look at this screen and see all these happy faces from so many different places. And please, 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 take the Dharma right into the center of your heart, and everything that you do, including everything, should become the means for us to make further progress on the path and be of benefit to this world. So thank you all very much. I'm very, very deeply grateful to you all for your participation. And it's just another little seed. But please, please, as much as you can, when you hear of great teachers giving the Bodhisattva vow, just run, right? And if you meet with good teachers, ask them also, please give me the Bodhisattva vow. Because the more we do it, the more stable it will become for next lifetime. Because the only fear is that we might be reborn in circumstances where it's difficult to come across the Dharma. So to make sure that doesn't happen and that we meet Dharma as quickly as possible, and this lifetime also is set on fire with the joy of practice. That's the other thing. I really, the path of a bodhisattva is a path of joy. You should be deeply motivated to feel real, real inner peace and happiness that the Dharma still exists in this world. There are still many people who are practicing it, and that we likewise, to the best of our own capabilities, will also practice, and we will never give up. As His Holiness says, never give up. Because sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not so easy, but whatever, we trust that lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, we will again and again meet with great masters, and the Dharma in all its purity will be there to help us to attain our goal. So now you're all little baby bodhisattvas, and you take care, like with a baby, you have to do a lot of things for it, but babies will grow up eventually and become adults. So may all of you be well and very well and happy, and thank you all. May the world really wake up. It has to wake up eventually, otherwise it would destroy itself, and it's not going to destroy itself. According to the sutras, there are 1,000 Buddhas in this eon, and we've only had 7. So we've got a lot of Buddhas to go. So in all those Buddhas, may we also be there to listen to their teaching and to absorb the Dharma for the sake of all beings. May you all be well and happy.